David is the construction safety manager for the port and is responsible for conducting contractor safety oversight of the $3 billion capital improvement construction program currently underway. Prior to joining the Port of Portland, David retired from a 4-year career with the Army Corps of Engineers, where he served as the safety manager of various Corps districts all over the world. He was the Corps Matters subject expert for fall protection and the primary author integrating the ANSI fall protection codes into the Corps' manual. We were also going to have Steve Danielson here from the port with us today, but unfortunately, due to the rescheduling conflict, he wasn't able to make it. But I'd like you to all please give a warm ASSP and Oregon Rims welcome to David. And with that, I will end the microphone.
So we're underway with phase 2 right now, which if you went in there and you notice there's some big R-Wes walls, the white curtains, we're demolishing what used to be the screening areas. And I'll show some drawings here in a second, where you used to screen through TSA. And in a year and a half from now, it'll be even bigger. So we got 1/3 more that we're building out. And this is it's a time lapse of the roof that we built. We had to build a 9-acre roof out of wood. Never been done before. And so plan A is build it over an operating airport, because we had to build this project in an operating airport. Most airports would have built a new terminal in the South 40. Would have been easy, right? Greenfield. Joaquin knows, he was part of this project. Put a fence up, bring the contractors out of everybody's hair. We made a decision, we didn't want to put you on a shuttle bus. Like SeaTac, you come in the main door, and now you're gonna travel from there. We want you to be able to walk in the main door and walk to every point in there, including our rental car center that's new, everything. That's our mantra, walk everywhere. Take your time, enjoy the concessions, enjoy the view. That's what we try to do. So build a 9-acre roof over an operating terminal. That means build it from 1 in the morning to about 4 in the morning, because the place has got to be empty. TSA, for their screening equipment, they come in at 4 in the morning, crank it up. So that really limits it. Plus workers working at 85 feet in the air, building a roof like this, a lot of hazards there. So we made the decision to build this fabrication yard at the end of the runway. People would call me, they're driving down Marine Drive, and they're going, Dave, what is that big structure out there? I tell them, oh, we built a picnic shelter for employees. It's 9 acres large, and it's really cool. We put a concrete pad out there, 12-acre pad, just so and iron workers were never happier in their life to not have to work in the mud to build something like this, to be able to stand on concrete. That's an extra expense that we took, but it was the right thing to do. We built this thing 14 feet off the ground. So it made it a lot easier, a lot of the work done from scissor lifts. So this is a time lapse of what we're doing, and we have 4 more sections. The first of the last 4 sections comes in, again, from the south. It'll be this Thursday evening, and we bring it in at 1 in the morning. So it's really cool. And did I hit the wrong button? I hit enter. Cool. That moving machine and the people in the coveralls, they're a company called Mammoet. They're out of the Netherlands. They specialize in this kind of work. Those are Y columns sitting on 150-foot long piles. DeWitt, we got DeWitt was one of the big companies out there putting piles in for us. That mover moves at 1 mile an hour. It's controlled by a worker with a belly box. Everything's remote control. You can pivot 360.
Wait, you said.
1,000,000 pounds. Needless to say, everything above, below, and all around had to be clear of people, non-construction workers. Look closely at the skylights. There's something interesting about those. And I think we're at the end. A few of the 70 trees and over 5,000 plants inside that building. The skylights are the first in the nation that one can walk on. We used a German DIN standard, it's called DIN, and the US is aware of this standard, but nobody's ever applied it. So we did countless hours of testing in a laboratory in Troutdale. And initially, the design team says, well, let's submit this to OSHA and say, show that this meets the equivalent of skylight cover. Because they didn't want a skylight cover, mess with the aesthetics. They didn't want a guardrail around the skylights. We have about 40 skylights. They didn't want all arrest anchors. They just wanted somebody from the distance to look at that and how pretty that is. Follows the curve of the roof. And so I said, well, let's not ask Oregon OSHA after we come up with this design, because nothing against Oregon OSHA, but they're a regulatory agency and their first response might be no, and then prove it to us. We brought them in during the testing. They participated in the testing with us. They came back and they gave us a clean bill of health saying these skylights are the equivalent of a skylight cover, the design. So we're not jumping up and down on them on a daily basis, but we can if we had to. So that was important. They're the only ones ever constructed in the US. We've been sharing that information, the design, with other companies across the country. So it makes that unique.
How many percent were part of the?
Oh, he's a ringer. He works for the port. 14 of them so far and 4 more coming. So when you walk in now, we call that phase 1. Those 14 went in. Once the roof was up, then we could build out. So again, it's a mass timber roof. We'll go into some more details coming up. Again, Steve Danielson could not join me on this, but I have no problem. He was going to have me do most of the talking anyway. So to get there, and this is, I started with the port going on 9 years ago. I see some old friends from the port that used to be with us, and we had to move a lot of parts so we could fit this new terminal in place. Keep in mind, we were going to build this over an operating airport. So the first thing we had to do was build a new quick turnaround facility. What that is the rental cars, you drop off a rental car, it's taken to be serviced, gassed up, vacuumed, car wash, and put it back into service. It is the world's largest gas station. There's 76 pumps in this building under that roof. Took a lot of coaching and with the city fire department, the authority having jurisdiction to convince them that we could have a 76 pump gas station inside a building, but they concurred it was okay. It's fully automated, and again, it's called the QTA, the Quick Turnaround Facility. As you leave the airport, if you went to the front of the house and you're following Airport Way and you're leaving, this is on your left. It's a 1-story building, and inside that is 16 car wash bays, 76 gas pumps. DeWitt drove
A lot of fun.
a lot of piles. Actually, everything you see out here, DeWitt, they're out of sight, but they're not out of mind. They drove a lot of piles. And again, when we drive piles there, they're 150 feet deep, and we're still nowhere near bedrock. We supersize the number of piles. We got that out of the way because what we're going to build next was, well, actually number 3, but number 2, if you've been to Southwest down in Concourse E, they used to be in Concourse C. It was too crowded. We had to divvy everything up. So we had Skanska come in and built us an extension on Concourse E. So that also freed up some space because we're going to take over a lot of gates in C and D for this construction. So we had to do that. So now that we got the quick turnaround facility out of the way, we can build a new rental car center, or we call it an RCC, rental car center, and it's also an office building. The rental car center is on the ground floor, and then the other 3 floors are for badging, for police, TSA, and other offices that used to be in the main terminal. You just didn't see them. They were in a mezzanine level above where the food court was. We needed to get them out of the way because we're going to demolish where they used to sit to build this new terminal. So we had to build this facility. J.E. Dunn came in, a $282 million job, and that included a new parking structure we call P3, which is part of long-term parking. So that was another big project we had to get done before we could start any of this other work. So we've gotten 3 things done, and now we go back to Concourse B. If people remember, Concourse A was a temporary terminal we built 40 some years ago. We have a phrase at the port, temporary is 6 months or longer. There is no 6 days or 6 hours. It's 6 months or longer, sometimes 6 years or longer. So A, we didn't want to see A ever again. There will never be another A. That was a temporary, it's gone. We built a new Concourse B because we had to move Alaska and Horizon again away from some of the areas we're going to demolish and reconstruct into another area. So we built B, beautiful building. We built it in record time. You can see we're burning through money here, but that's so we can get to what we call T-Core, Terminal Core. And so again, those that have been in there, if you haven't been in there, most of the cool stuff is pre-security. So feel free to go out there. Go up to Loyal Legion. That's the bar up there in the mezzanine. The view is incredible up there. Yeah, have yourself a cup of coffee, walk around and just enjoy everything. So T-Core itself is a $2 billion project. We did all this, especially 4 and 5 during COVID. COVID actually hit when we were starting the RCC. And DeWitt had just finished driving a couple thousand piles. It was a forest of piles, and COVID hit, and we're going, do we stop? You know, because nobody's flying anymore. Our revenue went way down. And we made the decision, they'll come back. And we've done all this work to this point, this enabling work. Let's keep on working. In fact, it was to our advantage. You've got 1,500 construction workers out there without all the flow of aircraft. A lot of stuff got done during the daytime that we'd normally do when aircraft aren't flying. So we took advantage of that. Unfortunately, as a safety professional, my new job became masked police. And I hope I never have to go through that again, because it was really tough telling somebody that's up there at height that could hurt themselves, you need to wear a mask. But my safety glasses are fogging up. But it just became very difficult to construct, but we got through it and we made it. So if you walk in now, and I talked about phase 2 is where we started. Phase 1 is what you see that's open now. You can walk in there and enjoy that. Phase 2 is where the screening used to be on the south and the screening used to be on the north and everything associated with that. This is all fully demolished. The demolition over here is almost complete. A company called North Star. By the way, Hoffman Skanska joint venture is the company building this. Incredible team. Hoffman and Skanska have a long history with the port. They have a long history in this community. I was on the selection panel. There was another joint venture bid. We assumed it'd be a joint venture because of the cost and the bonding requirements. And they came in, the Hoffman Skanska team came in and just knocked our socks off. They'd already had a plan on how they're going to demolish this, keep the airport up and running. And I'm part of one of my roles is prevention through design. I look at projects and I try to engineer out hazards to the maintainers, the operators. I enjoy that part. Another role is when we're selecting major contractors for best value, which is a competitive bid. And we are a quasi-state agency, but we'll go competitive bid where it's the right thing to do. I will look at their safety. We assign 10 points out of 100 to how their safety in their program filters out. That's a make or break, 10 points out of 100. If you're bidding on a $2 billion job, And the Hop and Skanska team just came in and rocked it in their proposal and rocked it during the interview. And they're still rocking it. So Joaquin used to be with Skanska. Again, I thank you. And a lot of people in here that have worked with one or both of those companies, they're a great team. And a little later on, I'm going to show you why they're a great team. It's the numbers show it.
And the board was a great bunch.
Well, we know that. Actually, it does come up. We have a reputation of being a tough client. And so I've heard the same thing with Intel, because a lot of these same subs work at both places. Nike, I got to go out there during their big construction phase. We're known as being a tough client, but I've had subcontractors telling me they like that. We're hands-on. We're hands-on every day. I'm out there. Pardon?
You're tough but fair.
Exactly. We want a good quality product, and we want it done safely. We're not a hands-off client, and we're proud of that, because we want to make sure it's the best product we're going to get, and it's going to be done safely. So we went with an OSIP. We were looking at, do we go with a CSIP? And I'm going to assume everybody in here knows those two terms. Anybody not? Because I didn't. Remember, I came from the federal sector before I started with the port. I was retired for 30 days and started at the port. And the federal government, the Army Corps of Engineers, they're self-insured, and they expect the contractor to, the port's exempt from the liability that the contractor might experience. And so there is no such thing as OSIP or CSIP with them. So I had to learn real quick. And I remember, Dan can tell you, these insurance firms that come in, they wear nice suits, come in and make a pitch on why we should hire them. You know, that was my big impression. They say a lot of words. I had no idea what they were saying, but they wear nice suits. So we collaborated. We decided to go with OSIP, Owner Controlled Insurance Program. And the first thing I did is I brought in my counterpart from Hoffman Corporation and my counterpart from Skanska Corporation. And I said, we're going to create a safety requirements manual for this project. There's a lot of things I'd like to see. I came from the Army Corps of Engineers. They're legendary for being tough on safety and having a lot of requirements well above OSHA. Well, it turns out Hoffman and Skanska have similar kind of requirements well above exceeding what OSHA minimum standards are. So we negotiated. One thing that I wanted and I got is narrow frame scaffolds, also known as Baker scaffolds. At 4 feet, we require guardrails because it's just too common. Somebody stand on that narrow platform, they step back. It's going to ruin their day. When you rent that Baker scaffold, guess what it comes with? Guardrails. Instead of leaning them on the wall in the corner, stick them on the scaffold. Personal fall arrest, trauma straps. They're not mandated yet by OSHA, but ANSI says you should be wearing them. And that's if you do have a free fall, if you're not familiar with them. I have a free fall. I got about 5 minutes before somebody needs to get me down because those leg straps are going to start digging in. I'm going to suffer some serious, possibly life-threatening situations. Well, these trauma straps, there's different manufacturers. I deploy them. I stick my feet in there. I can take that weight off my body. I can hang there for months if I had to while waiting for rescue. So we mandate anybody in a fall arrest mode have the trauma straps. Something people don't realize is with fall arrest gear, they have a certification for some. It's because it's made out of Kevlar Nomex. It's called arc flash rated fall protection. Why anybody would want to fall into an arc flash environment, I don't get. You're free falling into an area where there could be an electrical explosion. However, they're also rated to withstand temperatures up to 900 degrees. So a lot of our welders, and I've been involved in a fatality, unfortunately, where an iron worker, his torch cut through the lanyard. If you would have had this, it wouldn't have cut through. It's not a fix-all for everything, but you get a slag spark or things like that, you're not going to see it. It won't melt. So we mandate that for anybody using torches, the ironworks specifically. Hoffman and Skanska both have a very direct requirement of ladders last. We really push that because if you've been working in the construction industry for more than a month, you realize ladders are our biggest source of falls, and falls are our biggest source of fatalities. Yes, Dale.
Self-retracting language is a requirement too.
Pardon?
Self-retracting.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, we went with the latest ANSI leading edge requirements of no synthetics. So Jamie Smith used to be the lead safety for this project. Jamie Smith he left the dark side and came to the right side. He now works for the Port of Portland. He's been with us for just over a year. Jamie was once asked, does this project have a lot of incidents? And Jamie goes, yes. And I went, how can that be? We have a lot of incidents, a lot of little near misses, potential first aids, potential more serious, and we want to know about them. And we investigate all of them. It may be just nothing more than the superintendent going over the person. Oh, wow, that was close. What can we do to fix that? We want to know everything we can because we all know about the bird triangle, right? The more data we get on these near misses, the more we can do to prevent that big event. So yes, we have a lot of incidents because the workforce knows we trust them, they trust us to report these things. It's a culture we've created out there. And it's not that hard to create that culture. If management supports it, people get it. So we want to know. We use a firm called Onsite, and I can't give them a big enough plug. Somebody suffers some kind of minor injury, we immediately have Onsite, similar to AMR, but they have a different approach. They'll triage that person, and a lot of times that person can get right back to work. Oh, your shoulder's hurting, let's give you a little massage. Thank you very much. That feels great. The cramp is gone. We send somebody to an ER, they're going to be there all day for starters. Supervisor has to go with them all day for starters. Doctors have a lot of doctors have a habit of just prescribing something. Once that prescription kicks in, now it becomes recorded. And plus you've lost the whole day on site. And if the worker wants to go to a clinic, we never stop that. But on site's right there, and we have a room dedicated. And that's really helped us. And when I show you a slide later on, the numbers show it. So safety staffing, starting with the port myself full-time. And I'm also focused, like I said, on design also. And a project like this is thousands of pages of design because we're looking at can it be maintained, operated safely, and also for the public. We have to keep them in mind. I have two people that work for me. They're contractor full-time safety people. We use the term contingent, sort of strange term, but they're construction safety pros. Hoffman Skanska team ranges from 5 to 7 full-time safety pros. Right now, during demolition, we're down because everybody's got to stay out of North Star's hair. So we have 5 full-time safety people, then we'll ramp up as we start to build up. Each subcontractor requires a full-time safety to have 30 people or more. And that's in our OSIP manual, and I think Hoffman has always had that as one of their minimum requirements. If there's a high-risk activity that's been identified, work at height, things like that, they will also, that subcontractor, even if they only have 3 or 4 people, will be required to have full-time safety. This is all formal. And then we have an OSIP safety consultant, Brian Clark from GEW. Brian couldn't make it, but I think a lot of us know who he is. We have one of his employees here. 2 things. I didn't know a lot about OSIP, and Brian's been around this industry for a long, long, long time. He is my sounding board. He's my sanity as I plug away on day-to-day basis. Brian, we bring him in from on-the-spot audits. I'll get into it in a second here. If we have subcontractors with EMRs or 1 or greater, I engage Brian and his team. So one of the things we learned early on, we saw a little trending going in the wrong direction. A lot of the superintendents were spending their meetings, their time in meetings. And Phil Dobbins from Hoffman Skanska, he's a Hoffman employee, he's the lead superintendent. He put a stop to that. He says, I need my superintendents to be boots on the ground. So 99% of their time is boots on the ground where the work is happening, not in a meeting. And Joaquin and I, we have a military background. We know leaders lead from the front. And so that's what Phil Dobbin did. I got it. Superintendents, get your butt out of this room and down on the floor. They're also responsible for looking at pre-task plans. They grab random ones as they walk around because that's where it starts. And anything high-risk activity, somebody from the leadership level of Hoffman Skanska is going to sign off on an HRA that is developed by a sub. Another thing we learned, and we've seen this on construction projects, a handoff. Okay, Joaquim's in charge of the subcontractor in this activity, but Joaquim calls in sick. Subcontractor keeps on working on their own. They start thinking, well, this is what we think Joaquim wanted. No, we put in place there's a formal handoff. So that way there's always leadership helping the subcontractors so we don't go south. We also have again, we're a hands-on employer or client. We have fully staffed construction department with fully staffed construction inspectors, quality assurance inspectors. They're all trained in safety requirements and they're my eyes and ears also. So we have thousands of eyes on this project and it's beneficial to everybody. Another thing we do is focus, we are a state agency, but it's the right thing also. We really focus on MWSB. And what we found is, and we have a goal on any project that we do, a goal of MWSB contractors. But something we found is sometimes their safety is not as robust. It's not as mature because they're a small company. They're a newer company. So we help them. Once they start work and they're entered in the OSIP program, we mentor them. The Hop and Skanska team steps up because it might be a small Key Electric. If anybody's familiar with them, woman-owned, I've seen them just grow and grow and grow and get really good as a production type company and a safe company. And we step in to help them because we want to see them succeed. Sometimes if they have an EMR greater than one, there's a lot of job sites I've heard out there that you don't get to work as a sub. The prime says greater than one EMR, you're out. We took a different approach. Things happen. I'm a small 4-person company and one of my employees got in a vehicle accident. My EMR starts going up. Maybe it was their fault, maybe it wasn't, but should I restrict that person from working on this job? Because that's, in my mind, a penalty. So what we do is we engage GEW because a lot of times it's poor case management is what we found. Managing their workers' comp cases. They just didn't have the expertise. They didn't know who to turn to. And in the meantime, their EMR is eating up this prior event. So Brian and his team step in and help these people. They help them write responses back to the Department of Labor and things like that to try to get that EMR trending in the right direction. So that's another win of having that outside OSIP consultant. Too bad Brian's not here because he could be throwing me candy and stuff, calling him out. So far, we've had 830 subcontractors enter into the OSIP program. That's a lot, and it'll keep on going up. So these are 5 questions that Marsh, who is our broker, will be asking the subcontractor if the EMR is greater than 1. Okay, what happened? I want to know what happened. Again, it could have been that vehicle accident. Had nothing to do with working on a construction site. It was getting to the site when that event happened. I want to see the 3 years of prior OSHA logs so I can start looking at trending, because sometimes reading those things, whoa, you're having a lot of these soft tissue type injuries. Brian, this company needs this help maybe in this training, or maybe in industrial ergonomic training. We use SAFE for that. It's phenomenal. We get free. SAFE is our workers' comp insurer on this project, which includes safety in motion training. And if we can reduce those soft tissue injuries, it's a win for everybody. I want to know, number 3, how are you addressing these incidents? Are you just saying that I saw one time, we fired the worker? Oh, come on, that's not proactive. That's reactive. And we help them if they ask us, well, what do you mean by helping? Well, sometimes it's just having that right culture. That's where GEW will step in and actually sit down and work with them. We're paying for GEW to go sit down with that company owner and figure out what we can do to turn things around. How they're going to manage their workers on the job. We are going to say you're going to put somebody senior in the company out with your crew because you've already been trending in the wrong direction. We want to see leadership from the owner out there with the team. Any other documentation they can show us. We've had some of these small businesses come in. We did hire outside consultants, and we see that as a plus because we saw we were going in the wrong direction, and we hired companies to come in and help us turn things around. We've only had, I would say, out of about 60 MWESB and larger companies with EMRs greater than 1, only 2 have not been allowed into the program. And both of them were they were non-responsive. They didn't want to They basically threw their hands up, forget it. I don't even want to write this stuff up. Okay, fine, we'll go sit. Hop and go find someone else. But otherwise, it's been a win. And again, personally, I've seen some of these small companies that started off weak just get better and better and better. So I'm going to play a video here. Everybody that comes onto this job goes through safety orientation, 2.5-hour orientation conducted by Hop and Skanska. Vince Granato is our chief operating officer. And we have been told by people that go through the orientation, we've never seen a client from their top leadership actually care about safety and want to get engaged. So I'm hoping this plays. But this is shown at every single orientation. It's done 3 times a week.
Chief Projects Officer or responsible for all the projects that fall under the PXX. But we include this terminal for a project. As many of you, the PXX program is a suite of 5 different projects that $2 billion that are designed to modernize work. The PXX program is going to make sure we've got enough computer to upgrade the seismic resiliency of the airport, increase flexibility of the buildings as well. We still provide that world-class customer service that PX is known for. This terminal core project is once in a lifetime opportunity to participate in probably the largest, most complicated project that any of us to work on. And then the results of our work are going to be being felt by our friends, family, neighbors. We've had PX for almost 34 years. And I just feel really privileged to be able to help shape what this airport can be going forward. We've come a long way on the project so far. Lots of enabling work at sites. The roof is taking shape across the field. Concrete is going to open this fall. And the main terminal is just about done. And the design is really just I get really excited when I see what the end product is going to look. And once again, I know we're going to have the best airport in America when it opens. But we still got a long way to go. And the only way we're going to be successful in delivering this project is working together and working safely. I want you to safety is the #1 priority on this job. The Hop and Skanska team are committed to this project with your safety in mind. And scope, schedule, and budget. Those things take a back seat when it comes to delivering it safely.
Remember those words.
To stop work without review, it's not safe. Safety is the priority of our schedule and production every time. If you see something that doesn't look right, we need you to say something with forward or someone else's. Kansas team has done a really nice job and developed a red flag program to help everyone be aware of potential safety hazards. Serious safety incidents occur with maybe we change personnel that might not be familiar with the work, or deviate from the plan. There could be a communication break, or there's a lack of proper tools, or we're not using them the right way. The Hop and Skanska team in the port are here to get the job done the right way, but it takes all of us to do this project safely. As I watch the progress made every day, I'm continuously amazed at the team. It really is an amazing group of professionals for this project. And each and every one of you will get to say, hey, I'm part of that. And look, we know airport in the nation, and it's because of the people. They pride in what they do every single day. Okay. So the port, Hop and Skanska team, we're happy here. We're glad that you're able to, and we're working safely every single day. Okay, thanks very much.
So there's some key things that Vince said in there, and we'll talk about it here in a second. How safety takes priority over schedule and production. And I'm going to show you in a bit how we stood by those words. So just hit enter again, or?
I just using the clicker.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
So we have a battle rhythm. I like to say it goes back to a military term. And it's what my daily, weekly, and monthly focus is and my pace. And so everybody out there, leadership wise, looking at pre-task plans, because that's, you want to make sure they're accurate. You want to question the workers. They're actually addressing the hazards. High risk assessments, I talked about that those are signed out by the Hopkins-Kanska leadership. We have our presence there. I'm out there every single day, and I have my team and again, our inspectors. We have weekly safety events every Tuesday afternoon. We have the owner-client safety walk. We have leadership from Hoffman, leadership from Skanska, leadership from Port. We walk the project, make observations. We have the airlines. Again, we're working in an operating airport, so we develop a process called an OID, Operational Impact Drawing. We're telling the airlines we're coming in your area and we're going to make a bunch of noise. We're going to vibrate. We're going to generate dust. We're going to have to shut this area down. And so we tell them in advance, a week or more in advance, with drawings and details so their employees can be aware of what we're about to do in that area so we don't catch them off guard. One of the things that I started doing out there, and I think everybody should do it if you got a big facility, we have our own port fire department, fully staffed. It's an FAA requirement, plus they also staff with full-time with medics, and they're Engine 80. They're technically they're also part of the city fire department system. We bring them out on a weekly basis and we walk, because construction projects like this, the exit door routes, they change. Egress paths change, because if we have a medical emergency or a fire or something, they're the first to respond. I want them to know what's going on behind the wall in the construction area, so when they show up, they're not surprised and wondering what to do. And coming up, we also bring in city fire, and they love it too, because they're going to help us out. We can't respond to everything. We have every 2 weeks, we have what's called an OAC, owner, architect, contractor meeting. Safety is always the first subject, and this is all key people involved with this project, include a lot of times the airlines, but safety is also always the opening subject. And then monthly, in fact, this happening as we speak, is called a Project Safety Leadership Team. That's something we stole from Skanska Corporation. Again, it's leadership, management leadership, talking safety. It's a formal talk, and subcontractors are invited to that. And then we have our OSIP walk, which is once a month, and that's coming up next week. SAFE is part of that. They're part of our OSIP. And Marsh is our broker. They come in. They have a safety professional that joins us. Our risk department's with us. And we walk looking from that perspective. So these are formal events, plus we have our day-to-day. But it's important that you establish these formal events. If it's on the calendar that way, it gets done. I talked about the OID. This is an example of what we're telling the airline. We're coming in this area. We're going to do the following type of work to give them a heads up. It's only fair to them with a project of this scale. So far, as of last week, 6,200 people have attended the safety orientation, 250 sessions conducted. One of the things we do is we're starting to establish that trust factor, that respect factor. And so we want safety. We're white hats, if you want to go back to the old term. OSHA was always the black hat, and we're the white hats, kind of good guys. We want them to trust us, because I said, how many incidents do you guys have? A lot. Because if they trust us, they can report it, and there's not going to be repercussions. So establish that culture. We want to make it relevant, easy, and fun. Safety can be fun. You're building a cool project. We all love working on this project. That makes it fun. Obviously, safety professionals, we use leading and lagging indicators, but a lot of times the leading ones don't get the same attention. I would imagine in the insurance industry side, you guys look at the lagging, right? What are the rates and things like that, and what's the cost? We also, from the safety side, want to look at the leading. Are we trending in the wrong direction? And sometimes that's hard to quantify. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling. We're trending in the wrong direction. What can we do to turn that around? We want to explain to employees why we're doing this. It's for their benefit. I mean, there's a standard phrase, well, I want you to go home with all 10 fingers and all 10 toes. We all hear that, right? There's more than that. We want to get this project done. We want to build it safely. We want to have fun doing it, because these people are enjoying this job. That's Catherine right there with me, and Jamie. Catherine is now promoted up. She took Joaquin's place with Skanska, but when Jamie joined the port, Catherine moved into his boots. And so we've been a breeding ground, a good breeding ground of safety professionals also on the contractor side. So we talk about, again, high hazard activities, and real world training is what we try to focus on when we do that. So I talked about those trauma straps. So during safety week, we actually brought in a hoist. We raise workers up off the ground, elevate them. They'd feel what it's like to have those trauma straps, or those the straps dig into your legs and the uncomfortable feeling. And then we'd ask them to deploy those trauma straps. And what we found is most people had never used them. So it was difficult for them. They put them where a tool bag covered them, or they didn't know how to use them. So it was an eye-opening event. It's real world training. So that's always great. Anytime you can conduct real world training for your people. I came up with this. I do the motocross part, but we also have what's called trials, where you go as slow as you can on a specialized motorcycle. If your feet touch the ground, that's called a dab. That's like a demerit. And so the goal is to go slow and smooth as much as possible. And so scissor lift operators, we were seeing a trend of them banging into finished walls and things like that. I created a little rodeo obstacle course for them. It was super popular. A team of two, one person spotting, like it should always be, and a person operating the scissor lift. And we made it as tight as possible. And if they touched anything, they lose a point. And all the other teams are just like cheering them on or booing them, things like that. So sometimes just having training can be really boring, right? But making training fun can be, everybody enjoys it. We have a thing, Hoffman came up with this trailer idea. It's called Guts. Their phrase is Guts, get us there safely. They have a Guts trailer on our project. It is a place to go and relax. It's got a snack bar in there. It's got popcorn machine. The only rule is, anybody can use it. The only rule is don't talk work. So I was at a football game last night, and oh, by the way, I'm not an Eagles fan, but that was a fun game. Sorry, Kansas City. But go in there and have a chat. You're feeling stressed. You just need to get away from the job. Go in there and relax. Get your head back on straight. We also have posted in there and all throughout the project resources out there. We know about suicide rates in construction. We're number 2 in the industry. And we got it. The hard part is getting those people out of that mindset of working a 12-hour shift, going to the bar, going to sleep, coming back to work, and everything, all that stress comes up. One of the things we did during Safety Week, and it was so popular, we brought it back again. There's a mortgage company that comes in and sets up a booth. We found out that a lot of these workers, like I just said, they work and work and work. They don't have time to do other stuff. They'd have to take a day away from work. Having them to be able to go up to this table where a guy handles mortgages, they told us we want that back again. So now it's a regular thing. We just thought it'd be, okay, just let's try it. It's one of the more popular booths because the workers don't have the opportunity to just run down and check about refinancing their house and things like that. And that's a stressor on someone, obviously. You know, this is the biggest stress you can think of is your home. We rock it when we have Safety Week, and we like to rub it in Intel's face. We have llamas come in. We've got 1,000 workers getting a lunch, and we bring in llamas, and they love it. I want to see Intel do this. We actually have llamas under contract at the Port of Portland. They're sort of like our comfort dogs. The travelers love them. We bring them in during the stress times, holiday travel and stuff. So Safety Week, we bring the llamas in. So I talked about the fire department. We have the weekly walks. We bring in Engine 12, which is high angle rescue from the city of Portland, because if somebody got hurt on that roof during construction, our fire department fights aircraft fire. We don't have a ladder truck. Engine 12 high angle rescue, that's their specialty. They've been out 4 times. They love it. It's real world training for them. Actually going up, taking selfies, because they get up there on top and then doing mock rescues of people. We had camel crane, fly them up in a basket in this situation. In this one, their ladder truck reaches the roof and they have soap slitter with a volunteer from their team. They bring them back down. So we know now if we have somebody hurt up there, we can call them. They can be there within 10 to 15 minutes at the most, and we can get the person back down. So it's important that we know now, they know, and everybody enjoys it. Stop work authority. It's a formal requirement on this project, and everybody has a sticker on there. It's something the port had started, and I remember Tony Howard from Hoffman, he retired, but he noticed the sticker on my hard hat. We were hard hats at the time, we're helmets now. A stop work authority, and he said, we have that, and I like that sticker. So they made a sticker. That way everybody has one on their helmet. And they're reminded, I have the authority to stop what I'm doing, and we want you to. So again, that goes back to that trust thing. You know, we're not going to beat you up if you go, I think I might have a problem, and I don't think I should be doing it this way. We're there to help you. And when I say we, it's the whole team. Relevant, fun, easy. So we are a partnership, and Joaquin mentioned that. We're the client, but we're part of the team. Without contractors, we can't build a thing. We may think we can build a new terminal. No, we need the contractor, and we need all the subs. We need the architects. We need the insurers of the world, right, Dan? We need, it's a team. Project leadership, Esau Brinsconato, our chief operating officer, with that video, he wanted to make that for the employee orientation. Our leadership is fully engaged. Safe, you guys rock. You really do. In fact, a special shout out. They spotted stuff. Next time you go out there, we have those stadium seats. Everybody loves those. And Eric from Safe, he was, before we even opened up, we had some trial runs with we had 4,000 people come in to do a test of the airport. It was 4,000 volunteers. We gave them fake boarding passes. We bought them coffee, go through TSA to make this new screening equipment to make sure. We have a motto, don't be Denver. Because when Denver first opened up, everybody, you know, all the nightmares they went through. So our motto has been, don't be Denver. In other words, practice, practice, make sure it works. If it's not working, let's fix it. But Eric got up at the top of those bleacher seats, and it's all wood, all Doug fir, and he covered one eye, and he says, if you got monovision, it looks like just a smooth wooden surface. And so if you were walking along and it's 14-inch drops to the next seat, you wouldn't know it. And whoa, you're right. Architects didn't realize this. And now we have these wood strips installed at the toe that let you know you're at the edge. So it's little things like that that Safe was, you know, they have a broad experience, not just construction. So they see things from all kinds of different points. Marsh is our broker. Great people. Natalie is our lead on that. And she used to be an employee of Hoppin. So she's very familiar with construction in this area. We just met, 2 days ago, Dan? And I said, nothing personal. I said, I'd be briefing this. We have a room full of safety professionals. And then Dan said, and also nerds, the insurance side. No. Hoppin Skanska joint venture safety team and their leadership. And slide or two, I'm going to show you how we actually lead by example. And ZGF is our lead designer, and they have a lot of sub architectural firms underneath them. I'll let you read those quotes. Those upper two are from local media. Last year, we had 4 near misses where we dropped objects. And 2 of those objects were dropped in the areas where TSA does their screening below the main level where you guys are familiar with. And then 2 of the dropped object events were in and around the general public, airline ticket counters. And these all happened within about a 3-week period. And it's just like, the worst thing that can possibly happen is we hurt a member of the public or an airline employee. Nobody got hurt, but it was like, what's going on? And so we conduct after action reviews for all these incidents. And we heard a trend. We were going to open last year in May, and the doomsday clock is on the wall. We've got 90 days. We got 89 days. We got subcontractors are working 60 hours a week 3 weeks in a row. 60, 60, 60, not 60, 60, 50. And they all said the same thing. It was like, excuse my language, a brain fart. I was so tired. I didn't even think about having that tethered. I didn't even think about who's on the other side of the wall. We noticed that trend. They were all saying the same thing. We're being pushed hard. We're working a lot of hours. We've been on this project for a couple of years straight. We got that goal down that we've been told we're going to open in May. And we're rushing and we're pushing and we're cutting corners. Leadership from Skanska, their vice president level, and from port senior leadership level got in a room and said, we got to do something about this. And it was agreed, we're going to slow the project down. We've told the world we're going to open in May. We're not going to open in May. And the media just went wild because I got FOIA requests. What happened? Who got hurt? How bad is the safety out there? It was all over. And how many people heard about us stopping the project because of safety? We stopped it for a good reason. We didn't stop it because things are going bad. We stopped it before things could go bad. It cost us over $15 million, Skanska and Port of Portland, to delay this with additional overhead costs, with additional labor, with additional this, that. But we made that right decision to stop this. We had a safety stand down with 1,000 employees. Vince Granato, corporate leadership from Skanska. I was up there and they said, we are stopping this project. This is a Thursday. We're going to let you go home, have a long weekend. When you come back, no more overtime except for certain key activities, but we will look at those activities. I remember hearing a foreman from, I think it was Harder Corporation, wow, these people actually walk the walk. People say this, safety first. Vince said it in his video, safety over schedule, safety over production. And we're saying it for real. We want you to go home. The overtime's gone. Most of these people didn't care about the overtime extra money. They were getting taxed to death anyway, because after 2 years of straight 60, 60, 60, they were lucky 60, 60, 50, they were tired. And they just wanted to go to a 40-hour work week. And so they wanted that, but the pressure was on them. We changed it to August because we knew we'd get it built, and we did the right thing, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the port. The bottom right is Curtis Robinhold. He's our executive director. He's saying what we did, we had to do, and show them we really mean it. The safety takes priority. The Oregonian was chomping at the bit. They were wanting me to say something about everything's bad, but no, everything was good. We did this on purpose. Keeping it relevant, easy, and fun. This is, again, we talked briefly about my career. I spent a year in Afghanistan, $1 billion construction program there. It was exciting. I enjoyed it. 2008, 2009, combat zone. But we were building stuff for the Afghan people, or trying to do our best, and for the U.S. military forces. I spent 7 years doing construction in Europe with the Army Corps of Engineers, five years in Asia, all across the U.S., 3 years in the Middle East. I built a lot of cool stuff, but this is the coolest project I'll ever be involved in. When it's beautiful, we like to say we're the gateway to the Northwest, and SeaTac is the doormat to the Northwest. We obviously have a little rival, but what we build good, and people working there, same thing. They're building something that they can bring their family in and say, look, that's mine. Everybody owns it. One of the things we heard from March is and we heard it again, we're the best OSIP program they've seen in the country. Because if you look at the numbers, these are amazing numbers. For 2024, our incident rate is 1.15. It's way down there. Project to date is 1.74. But look at this next one, lost time rate. We haven't had a lost time in 21 months, going on at 22 next week. A lot of us at on-call. A lot of us people letting us know right away so we can triage it right away and have on-call triage that. And can we find them light duty? Can we work with them? But this people say knock on wood. No. I don't have to knock on wood. It's working. If we get one, we get one. So what? But we're doing good. We got the right thing going, and people are reaching out and talking. I think I might have hurt myself before something becomes worse. They go home for the weekend. Now it truly is an injury. Our workers' comp claims, only 79 of them so far on a project. I don't have the numbers up there. We're over 6 million hours on this. So keep that in mind, 6 million hours on this job so far. And this is a part that you guys understand more than I, but I've been told this 28 cents per $100 is good. So I'd like to see it 1 cent, but nod your head, Dan, that's good, right? I've been told it's really, really, really good. So it was not anticipated to be that low in the beginning, so.
Well, what's the expected loss ratio?
I'm gonna look at my esteemed colleagues back there. Dan, what was our anticipated? Because I know I've heard that before.
I can't.
It was much higher. I think, wasn't it around $1 or something like that? Because it was based on other industries around the Portland area and similar type work. And what's amazing is a lot of this is demolition. And if you work construction, demolition's one of the most hazardous activities out there. And to have these kind of numbers, building a new airport would have been really easy, but the demolition operator on not operating one challenges. But the shameless plug, I put that in there. So I mentioned that one of my roles is also prevention through design, review and design. We won in 2023, the National Safety Council Prevention Through Design Award. Is ASSP and National Safety Council. And J.E. Dunn, John McKenzie, Kathy from YGH, our architect, myself and Steve Danielson down in New Orleans at the NSC Safety Conference. We're the third ever recipient of that award. The first two were academia, Dr. Popoff and who was the other one? But these are the guys that wrote the book on prevention through design. And I mean, we're not going to beat, and Bruce Lyon, we're not going to beat those two. And we were told to, because we nominated ourselves for 2022 and Dr. Sergey Popoff won, and we saw his name pop up. Forget it, we're not going to win. And he deserves it. But we were encouraged by National Safety Council and CDC to re-nominate ourselves. And so we're the first to ever apply the principles of prevention through design. So we're really proud of that. And it was a team effort there. So at this point, any questions?